Hello, Megan.
Hello, Michelle.
Welcome to the Spicy Brain podcast, where we are navigating neurodiversity with curiosity, joy, and
radical acceptance. High kick.
Well, welcome. Welcome to anyone who's new. We're so happy that you're joining us for the first time. And for those of you returning, then you know the neurospicy journey that we've been on this last, what is it now? Like almost a year and a half?
Yeah, we're getting close to that.
Oh
60.
my gosh.
This is our 68th episode, Michelle.
68. Holy cow.
Can you believe that? That's wild.
That's more ages than I am, so I feel good about that. Higher number than me. Okay, so we usually kind of start off with a story. We sort of dig into that brain of yours or mine, depending on the day. We never know which spice it's going to take us.
You were raised spicy, Michelle, so
was.
you kind of can't help it at
Oh,
times.
and I can totally be spicy. And then, we try to look at some sort of strategies. Although I will say that our good dear friend, who we mentioned many times in the last podcast, maybe too many, so I won't say her name, but she knows who she is. She said we didn't have very many strategies last time. And I was like, yeah, I think that's this next chapter, because we're doing all about this book, Your Brain Is Not Broken, by
Tamara Rosey, your PhD.
Yes, and I saw she has a podcast or something too, so I wanted to check her out at some
Watch
point.
her I've not been pronouncing her name right this whole time.
I know. I want to find out just so we can school ourselves on that at some point. So, okay. So today I kind of wanted to get into this idea of fun versus not fun.
Okay.
Okay, and so apparently she talks a lot about this idea that things that are considered to be fun, like people with ADHD might say, if something, if there's an idea that's fun for me, I'm going to want to do it. And I was wondering if that's true for you. If it's fun, are you mostly going to want to do it? And would you build your whole day around things that would be fun if you could?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. She says people with
But
ADHD
isn't that everybody?
would smile. No.
What?
No.
No, that's got to be everybody.
No.
Why wouldn't you want to spend your day
She
being
says
fun?
this in big audiences, and people with ADHD are all nodding and yes, and just like you just did. And non-ADHD people like me are nodding slowly with a hint of confusion, not driven by the need for fun. Isn't that wild? I know.
Wouldn't everyone be driven by a need for fun?
It doesn't affect our motivation as much as people with ADHD.
Well, y'all are nuts.
And that's what I was telling.
You know what? We've just realized we're the normal ones. Y'all are the weird ones. You're the freaks. I say that lovingly.
Yeah, but we're more likely to do not, quote unquote, not fun activities. And I was thinking about this today as I was trying to get my son. So that's No, I'm just saying.
No, I know where we're going with this. It's because, being an adult is not supposed to be fun. And and you guys are the ones who are doing, all of the important stuff and the responsible stuff. But me being fun is not responsible.
No, I think it isn't the same thing. I think it's if you think about this about motivation, what motivates you, I don't think it's really a judgment thing. It's just what motivates versus what doesn't. Right? And so that's interesting to me, because I'm thinking so many actors, so many creative types, you hear that they have ADHD. And I was yeah, because that would actually be really hard for me to do all day long. To play all day long is actually, and I don't mean it's play it's not real work. I'm saying, but the idea of being in your imagination, letting yourself go and just being able to just be free with it, that's actually hard for me. And so I think that's interesting, because it's what motivates me. It's that doesn't motivate me because I'm not as good at it. So I wonder if things are just you're motivated also things you're good at.
Michelle, you read for fun. So that's fun for you, right?
Right, but okay, let's be honest. Reading's always been really difficult for me, but I do a lot of reading because I force myself to do it, but it's not
learning
fun.
And enjoyable. Isn't learning enjoyable for you?
Learning is enjoyable, yes.
But then if
the process of reading is not fun for me, though.
But you listen to audiobooks now.
And that's better. Yeah.
And that's fun?
It is No, I mean, it's interesting. I wouldn't say it's fun. I mean, I'm just saying, like, the concept of fun is what she's actually getting at. It's like you.
But why would you do it if it wasn't fun, Michelle?
Exactly. No, this is the thing.
I
but
just
it doesn't
always
motivate me. Wait. Fun isn't the thing.
I've always assumed that you read for fun. Because you're like, I mean, you listening to these audiobooks and all that is like fun for you. And like, that's why you do it.
No.
You're saying
I do it
no?
because, I do it because I want the knowledge.
I thought you were going to say, I do it because I'm bored. I was like, yeah, that's why I do it too. No, you do it for what? No, I will listen this time. I promise.
I've done it mostly for this podcast or because I want to get better at something, right? Like I have a motivation to become better at something. It's not necessarily fun for me.
What? Like, huh?
Yeah.
That makes no sense. Like, I want to get better at stuff because it's fun to get better at stuff. Like, it's enjoyable it's fun to get better at things. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing this and I'm getting better. And let's go. Let's get better. Better. We're getting better. No? That's not the... That's not what happens for you?
I mean, I guess my brain, the way she says it is like my brain is not seeking enjoyment always. Like that's not like I know, yeah.
So you
but
do
that's
things,
like you say
you're blowing my mind, Michelle. You're blowing my mind. You do things, on like a regular basis because they're not fun.
No, not because they're not fun. They're just not fun.
But then why would you do them if they were not fun?
That's the whole thing. That is how we are wired differently. Like this is the whole point of this part of her book.
I know, but you're blowing my mind, Michelle. We didn't pregame this, so I'm like, what? Oh, I can't get her. I can't condone this. What are you talking about? You don't do things for fun, Michelle. What? Okay.
So, okay.
Brain hurts.
Yeah. So she's in these like big groups of people, some who have ADHD, some who don't. And like people will say to her at some point that don't have ADHD, like, you mean people with ADHD don't do something until there's a high emotional stimulus attached to it? Like either fun or stress or whatever. And she's like, yes. She's like, yes, that's right. But the idea of like reading for fun is, I think somebody with ADHD came up with that tagline. Makes sense, right? Because it's probably a creative person. And it's like, well, the only reason you would do it is if you were having fun. Yeah. It wouldn't be for just learning purposes. Or
no, because that's painful. And gosh, The Gorillas in the Mist was the worst book I ever had to read in like third or fourth grade, whatever grade it was, and it like destroyed me from wanting to read because it was not fun in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. But I had to read it, and there was no other reason for me to have to read this book than other than I had to. And I still don't know what the book is about. I mentioned this book so often.
I think there's gorillas and they're in the mist.
I don't even know. What if it's like one of those, books where it's like all about
not Jane Goodall, but like the other person like that. Yeah, and she went and watched gorillas.
Whenever I mention this story, I always think that it's going to be about a book. Like, that one where it's about a rabbit, but it has nothing to do with a rabbit?
Oh, that's the one I had to read. Watership Down. Yes.
Yeah. You're like, oh, it's going to be about a rabbit. And it's not. Like, so is Girls in the Mist actually about gorillas in the mist? Or is it just like...
Yes, I believe it is. I believe it's
real
about
gorillas.
A colony of gorillas, or maybe it's not a colony, but it's a group of gorillas. Yes. I'm pretty sure.
It
didn't even read it. There's a whole movie now, so you can like watch Sigourney Weaver be the biologist.
Oh, is that the one Sigourney Weaver's in?
I believe so.
Oh,
look it up right now. I bet it is.
Okay, I'll look it up.
Yeah. I'll let you have a divergent moment.
Thank you.
Welcome. So the idea, though, that fun, not fun, I thought was really interesting to play with this concept because also what's fun to one person isn't fun to someone else. So I was sort of curious, like, what you find fun. But first you're looking at Gorillas in the Mist. So
I totally am. But no, I'm having I was like having a flashback of this picture. And I'm like, Gorillas in the Mist. I don't know. I'm just looking at pictures. Yeah, there's Sigourney Weaver. with
Isn't
her like
she
curly
like a
hair,
biologist
carrying.
person
Yeah,
carrying a
she's
gorilla?
like carrying a gorilla in her arms.
I think you probably would have loved it. It's all about animals.
Is it within her midst?
No,
You
mist.
know, like the gorilla in
like
the
she's
midst.
no.
Or in
Look
the
at the
midst of
word.
me?
Read the word.
No, I know, but like, are they playing off the word midst?
Oh, it could be, but it's also I think a misty mountain that she's in.
It tells the story of Fosse, who came to Africa to study the
Yeah.
vanishing mountain gorillas and then later fought to protect them. Okay.
And maybe mist
she
like
the
they're
one who gets dead?
like they're disappearing.
She the one who dies like from the
I
gorillas?
don't remember the story, but
Okay,
it is definitely about gorillas. She's in the mountain somewhere.
And it's misty. Okay.
It's misty,
Got it.
and they're disappearing, and it's bad.
I've closed the tab. Thank you for letting me go down my divergent stream.
You're so welcome. Okay, so fun, not fun. I'm going to give you a few things.
No. I was actually having. I was thinking about this when you were mentioning people don't do anything unless for fun, or stress, or some high stakes reason.
Yeah.
Can you believe I actually remembered that, Michelle?
I'm very impressed with you.
Thank you. Because today was exactly that. Like, I was laying in bed.
Yeah.
I had gone out and hung out with my ladies here. And one of our listeners now, who's now a listener because, you know, I met her, Veronica. She's like now listening to us. And so we were all hanging out and like, you know, karaokeing and having a good old time. But then I did not want to get up this morning. And so then I'm talking to you and I'm like, yeah, no, I want a podcast. For sure. Sure. Yeah. What time?
Yeah.
Wait, what time is it? Oh, it's like already noon, almost 1 o'clock. Okay. But I want a podcast. And you're like, well, Megan, I got to go to this thing at 4:30 and I got to leave at like 4 at the latest. And then it became high stakes for me because I was like, oh, I don't want Michelle to have to miss her thing, but I got to go do something else tomorrow. So we can't do it tomorrow. So then it became high stakes for me. Okay. And then I got myself up and I washed myself and cleaned myself very quickly.
Wow.
And I messaged you like, hey, I'm 15 minutes early because like, let's get this done.
Yeah. Like I was laying down having a bit of a nap thinking that like you were not going to be ready for like an hour. So
yeah.
And then it was high stakes for me too.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit. And then
the wrong kind of high stakes.
The wrong kind of high stakes for me. So I get to our podcast and I'm like, oh man, I forgot now I got to make my bed. Oh, anyway. Yeah, it was like one of those. So then you think that's true though. That's something, it helps you if it's
100%.
Okay. But then so that's like emotional. That was one of her pieces is that you could have something that's like emotionally anxiety producing, big feels, all those kind of malicious motivators a little bit. Right. And then she said there's this other side of things that like aren't the malicious motivation. It's just fun. And so I thought I would like say a couple of things and you could say fun or not fun.
Okay.
Maybe in a funny way. I don't know. You'll have to think about it. Okay. Watching what's that show with the drag race? Drag queens.
Fun.
Drag race. Is that what it's called?
Well, it used to be fun. It's kind of gotten a little old.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fun, not fun, depending.
Originally fun. Very, very fun. Like,
fun.
Yes, queen, fun.
Yes, queen, fun. Okay, that's good.
Now
okay,
it's sort of like,
if it's fun, then it's yes, queen. Okay.
It's
and
like,
if it's not fun, then it's like meh, meh, or something like that. Okay. You ready?
You're like, okay, yeah, I got it.
Okay, I got a list.
Okay.
Okay, fun, not fun. All right.
Let's go.
Doing dishes. Okay. All right. I think we all know that from like many episodes. But all right. Next one. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Karaoke with the girls.
Fun.
Yes,
fun.
Queen,
Yes, queen.
Fun. Yay. Okay. Good deal. Getting makeup on.
No, not fun.
Okay. Not fun. How about like one of those melodramas, like when you're the host of the melodrama?
Oh, yes, queen. I was like, that's my jam. That's my jam on toast.
Okay. Writing short children's stories.
Oh, yeah, that's fun.
Oh, that's so good. Okay. Meeting with some of the people that you help in the military families.
Yes. Super fun. Super fun.
Okay. Doing the write-ups about the people that you have to write up documentation.
Not fun. Not fun.
Okay, so her whole thing is that she feels like there's this set of 4 kind of ways you could be thinking about any particular task or thing you're going to go do. Like it's either fun or not fun, right? Mm-hmm. And then on the other side of it, she says that things can be either really stimulating, like emotionally stimulating, and that could be good or bad emotional stimulation, or not stimulating at all. Okay. And so there's this sort of like, she sort of sees it like a grid, or she kind of created this little grid. So like when things are not fun and not stimulating, they're mundane and boring.
Mm-hmm. Gorillas in the Mist.
I bet you're going to watch that movie and be like, it's so good.
I probably love it now.
Yeah. So then if things are really fun, but not stimulating, fun, but they take away your energy.
Yeah. I mean, like that's like meeting with people. It's super fun, but it's definitely like going out last night was super fun, but it took away my energy for sure.
Okay. And she says that like not fun, but stimulating. It's like not fun, but it needs to get done.
Yeah, that would be, what was the one we talked about? I mean, my first instinct actually was, okay, so dealing with the ladies, that's fun, but drains me. Mm-hmm. I don't know, like, oh, cleaning my dog.
Oh, yeah.
As you hate me calling it, juicing my dog's butt.
So gross when you say it like that.
Okay, everyone. So, like a dog, they have anal glands, and typically they're anal glands.
Okay.
No, they can hear this. It's fine. Okay, sorry. If you guys are eating, I would put your food down real quickly. But for those of you who are not, this is fascinating. So, Michelle, earmuffs. Just earmuffs. Mm-hmm. You don't have to hear. I'll wave to you when it's ready. So, every dog has anal glands, and then they usually express their anal glands when they use the restroom, because that's what normal anatomy does. However, for a dog like a pug that has been conditioned and bred to be smushed, they have a really hard time expressing their anal glands. Now, mind you, if you take your dog to the groomer to get their anal glands expressed, you're looking at like $20 a pop. And then when you have a dog like mine who, just daisies all over her butt, she probably needs it at least once a month, maybe sometimes once every 3 weeks. And so like that adds up over time. Plus, getting her to the place to actually go and get the anal glands expressed, it takes forever, and I don't remember to do it. So I had to learn. And there's like these 2 little like berries that are in her butt that you have to like squeeze in order for them the stuff to come out. And it is disgusting, but thank God there's something called boot scoot, which is like makes it so much less smelly. And so I don't always like saying, hey, I have to go express my dog's anal glands. Like that's just not sexy. So I say I gotta go juice her butt, and Michelle hates that term. She's like, she doesn't like, because you're like you're squeezing these berries to make some juice. Like it's gross juice, but like you're juicing. And I told this to my vet, and my vet thinks it's hilarious. My vet loves the fact like, hey, could you juice my dog's butt? And he's like, what? I explained it to them, and he's like, I've never heard that before, but I'm totally gonna use it now.
Oh my God. Okay.
Tangent complete.
That needs to be on like 15 times the speed. Like no one needs to hear that like for real. They can slow it down themselves if they want to hear what you just said.
Okay, fine.
I'll
do it fast. I'll do it fast with some cute music. Like, you know me, Michelle. I got it. If I'm bored listening to it, then sure. Okay, I'll fix it.
Yeah. So the whole thing is like being energy efficient is kind of what she's saying, which I thought was interesting. Like that these things take different amounts of our energy from us. True. And so it's like if it's high stimulation positively and it's fun, then it gives you energy. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think it's interesting because it's not just fun, not fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It really is like fun, but also gives me energy back. And one of the things we had sort of started to talk about, and that she talks a lot about in this next set of things, is that that it's really important because your energy can get drained so quickly because you guys feel so much like more intensely. Mm-hmm. Right? Than people without ADHD, that you've got to figure out what those energy giving things are and make sure to kind of put them in throughout your day. So here's the strategy, Taryn, by the way.
You called her out.
Oh, sorry. Did I say her name? But anyway,
I'll bleep her name in post.
So the strategy, though, she says, is somehow figuring out which of these things you can always say to yourself, is this thing fun for me or not fun? If it's not fun, it's probably going to take some energy from me. Right? And no matter what. But if it's stimulating, I have to be careful. Am I using malicious motivation to stimulate me, right? Am I using anxiety, the stress, the anger, the shame? Am I using that to motivate me? Or am I somehow like finding things? If I have to do that, then I need to find the other side of things that's stimulating and fun to give me energy back, to like balance it out. So if you sort of think of it like a balance, one of those balances on both sides,
I've
or
never
teeter-totter.
thought about that before. Like, that's fascinating.
Yeah, and that your energy may not just be gone for the day.
Yeah.
If you know what to pepper these other things in, you might be able to get some of that energy back.
Or maybe like the energy for that grid has been depleted for the day, but you can have energy for other grids. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you talked about the grid, right? There's the grid that you were talking about, and then there's the 4 areas.
But it's like you're not doing all 4 areas all the time. It's like every task is one of those 4 areas.
Oh, I see.
So it's like when you're thinking about your day yesterday, for example, you had to do a really hard thing. It's like your last day at this job you've loved. And I would imagine that there was a lot of stimulation, potentially.
100%.
But it was not fun.
No.
So it had to be done. So that's going to be this like little red area. It had to be done. But it probably was really depleting.
Oh, it's very depleting. Yeah, I got home and it was just like, I was so depleted, but then it's weird because like when I go to a certain point of being depleted, then whatever reserve I have to tap into, then I can't shut it off. Like that's when it gets dangerous. It's like when I go too far into the reserves, and whatever there is something there that allows me to continue going, but like it's at a massive cost. Like where I either cause I came home yesterday, I got home super late, and I first of all, I was in so much pain. Like Michelle, I was in more pain than I've been in years. And it was like, wow, this is reminding me of like my fibromyalgia days, like where I was really, really bad with pain. I haven't had that kind of pain in a very long time. And then I also like was getting manic about the pain, and like, I got to take care of it. I got to fix it. I got to get rid of it. And I was, in my little massage chair trying to fix it, but it wasn't working. And there was a point like where I literally had to like remind myself, okay, just don't do anything else. Just sit there and breathe through it. And it will be what it's going to be. But my body just couldn't sit still in a massage chair. I was like feeling it, just like really having a hard time. And then I finally ended up getting on one of those little bed buddies that you put in the microwave and heat up. And that helped at least calm the pain down, because it was at least something else that was painful. It was hot. And I was able to finally fall asleep. But like Michelle, it took me like 2 hours to wind down last night.
Wow.
Because I went from like, my day was sort of like, I'm trying to think, like it was like an up and down kind of day. It was lovely because like people, some like my boss and some like a few close people, like they came and they like gave me a certificate of appreciation, and I got coined, and like said some really nice things, and I wasn't prepared for it. And so like I felt appreciated, because like I rarely get that when I'm leaving a job. And then I was like, okay, I got to go and like get this work done that I've been putting off for a long time. So like I had to do that, and that was like not fun. It was not motivating, but I had to get it done. So then I was able to get that. Then I was supposed to go meet someone for lunch, but then I don't know, our numbers got crossed. I don't know what happened. But then another person came in and was like, hey, my spouse is here, and we were told that today's your last day, and that if we want to talk to you, we need to do it right now. And so like that kind of threw off my day, because I was like, I got all this work I got to do. And so then I made a choice of like, you know what? No, this person needs to get help. And it did actually bring me a lot of energy, which was helpful, because I was able to like, after I talking with him, I was able to go and get some more work done. But then by that point, I was like, do I go home, or do I'm like, I have to come back on base where I'm currently at to go to this going away party, which that takes out a lot of energy with the ladies. But I just stayed, and then I went and helped out, because I figured if I go home, I'm gonna sit down and like I'm never gonna want to leave my house again.
Yeah.
And the stress of like wanting to go, like I know that I'm gonna have a great time once I get there with the ladies, but like getting there is really hard for me. So I just stayed at work, and then I said, okay, I'm gonna go over there. I just helped them set up. I was like, what do you need? And but it was really hard, and it was a lot of anxiety during all that. And even just like at the place, like there's just like women who are just these beautiful, goddesses, and they're intimidating, because like I jokingly say like I'm a Cabbage Patch doll in a sea of Barbies. And like
the military wives, or the
yeah. And like, but these are not like, I mean, these women are absolutely gorgeous, but like they're also super kind and just very loving, and of this group of people, they all kind of knew each other for like over a couple of years, and I was the only one who had just known the lady who was going away for maybe 2 or 3 months. But like in the time that her and I spent together, we trauma bonded. And she wanted to invite me because like of how much we connected, and so I felt really honored with that. But like it was challenging to like get through the night, because like I would normally have been in bed by like 9 o'clock or 9:30, and by 9:30 they're like just getting started, and I was like, dang, these girls party, they go hard. So there was like a lot of good stuff that came from it, but it was hard for me physically, and so there was a lot of anxiety and a lot of emotions. And so I'm realizing I'm talking a lot, and I don't know why I'm talking.
Well, it sounds like, I mean, you kind of needed to process yesterday a little bit, right? Which totally makes sense, because that was a lot. I mean, for those of you who haven't listened before, Meg found this job that was like really kind of your perfect job, where you got to help people navigate the military, and due to everything that's been happening with funding cuts, your job is at risk, or was at risk. And so there was sort of this decision, I think, that they made that impacted you greatly. Like, you were going to be riffed, and so that's like reduction in force. And so luckily, like, you have a little bit of money coming in, I guess, from it, like till a certain time, but now you have to look for another job, right? And so it's like, that's stressful. You love the job, and it's been over a month of not knowing if this was happening, right? Like maybe 2 months or something. Yeah. So that's anxiety producing. And then they finally say, yes, this is the day, and Thursday is your last day, except for nope, it's Friday. And then now, no, it's Monday, because of this, extra work that, you chose to do, but at the same time, like, was really a lot. And then putting yourself in a social situation with a lot of new people.
And with a person who's also leaving the military. So like it was cathartic too, because like I was like, oh, it's kind of like my little going away too, and that was, but it was, like I this poor lady, like this. So my boss is the director of operations, and he is second in command, and his wife, just an incredibly smart, talented lawyer, like. Beautiful, like stunning, amazing baker. Wow. And every time I've seen her the last 2 times, I've been in the middle of all of this, and so I'm like, I just so appreciate your husband. And oh my god, and I just like start sobbing to her, because like
she's like just, a lawyer, like, oh my god, no.
She's like, I mean, she's been very gracious, but the part of me is like, I need to see her one day, like months from now, and be like, I am so sorry, or like even just message my boss and be like, could you apologize to your wife for me? Because like every time I see her, I'm just like bawling.
Yeah. And I mean, you like feel it so much, and I can hear it right now, like in your voice. And I just know like how important this next week is for you to really manage your energy, right? And be thoughtful about that, and as much as you can, because like you're giving so much, and like you need to also fill the coffers, right? You've talked about energy a lot in your life. And when you talk about being in pain, I remember you saying, like, if 90% of my energy is going to the pain, there's 10% left for everything else. And I could imagine being in pain last night might have reminded you of that.
Yeah, it really did.
Do you, like, if we dig in a little bit, and I know it might be a little bit hard to right now, so if you can't, that's okay. Um, but do you think that the pain might be related to the emotions in some way? Or is
Oh
it,
yeah.
yeah?
I mean, I am I'm actually able to now, I wasn't able to do this when I was younger, but like I'm able to now recognize that like the pain that I have is real. It is it stems from something very real, but like my emotions end up exacerbating the pain. And
Mm,
so all of this pain that I'm in has everything to do with whatever my emotional state is. And even my twitches and my tics in my face, like
mm,
I naturally am predisposed to them, but then when I am stressed out, my gosh, they just run rampant. And
mm.
I know for certain that this last week was a huge part of this was just like the stress of it, like the weight of everything on your shoulders. Like it was like my actual shoulder that was killing me.
Oh, wow.
And then this morning I woke up with the other side of my shoulder hurting. And so it was like, yeah, the weight of it all. And like one of the things I had to really kind of, I made a decision to get done whatever I could get done in my office. Cause like there was too much to get done that couldn't be done in a week. I mean, it probably could have been had I not been talking to students and to spouses.
Right.
Because if I had just been selfish and not, I mean, not selfish, if I had cloistered myself and said like I'm not here and I'm not gonna
Do my
address
job.
you,
Yeah.
yeah. But then in doing my job, then it also left for other parts of my job to fall by the wayside. And so, there's like, the thing I'm thinking about specifically is that let's say there's a stack of papers that are that represent people that need me to send an email to and have a warm welcome to say, hey, welcome to the Presidio Monterey, and here's your welcome packet. And I haven't been able to figure out how to like streamline that because that's just not in my wheelhouse. It's
Mm-hmm.
not fun, so clearly I haven't done it. but
Mm-hmm.
I but like knowing that the people are there, that's what I've been able to kind of do a little, like I've done chunks of them, but I haven't figured out a way to like systemize it.
Mm-hmm.
So I have all of these papers that are now unfortunately intertwined with other papers, so I don't know like which one are outgoing and which one are ingoing, and
Mm.
there's just like a bunch of people. And that was the one that I had to put aside and say, I don't have the time or the space to be able to present this with others, to like to follow through with that. Because these are people who may or may not want a welcome email. Like there's no
Right.
guarantee,
Right.
but it's almost like office hours, like I remember specifically my first semester teaching, and I had 80 students, and I gave every student feedback on their first paper. And I think I must have been talking to you about it, and you're like, well, do these kids even want the feedback? So I was like, man, Michelle, it takes forever to give feedback on these people. And they're like, well, offer office hours and
Mm-hmm.
allow for the feedback if they want it. And so then people would come to my office hours if they needed it, and I would absolutely give it to them. And so it's sort of like I had to think about it that way. It was like, okay, these people, yes, like they could use help, but maybe they don't know they need help yet.
Mm.
And but there's people literally at my door knocking. So like, do I try to help the people I think need help, or do I
Yeah.
help the people who are actually at my door right now?
Well, and it sounds
And
like also like you kind of were in that self-preservation mode, sort of like instinctually, because like it sounds like the paper thing is like not fun and not stimulating. So that's mundane, boring. So that's like the part that is not going to give you energy. And the fun and gives you energy is meeting with people and doing that part of your job.
yeah,
So it makes sense
no,
that
that's true.
you would have picked that part of it, especially this week, knowing
Mm.
how hard it was going to be for you emotionally.
Yeah, and I just had to get through it.
Yeah.
And it the energy part is challenging. And yeah, you're right. Like I probably didn't even realize I was doing it, but that was the choice I was making. And then this last person I met, this spouse, I was really grateful I met them because they apparently are a chef.
Oh.
And I was like, hey, he's trying to make a change in his life, and I fully support it. I'm like, yeah, you're a military spouse now, buddy. You got to like figure out how you can make something that can travel with you. So he wants to go into finance. But I was like, but in the meantime, you could, come and give me a lesson.
I love it so much. I love it so much. So, okay. So like, do you now that today, like after this like very emotional thing, right? And your energy was not, you drained it all last night, it sounds like. It was
Yeah, to the point like where when I woke up I was like, hello, Michelle.
I was like, I don't know if we're podcasting today. You're like, absolutely. Like you messaged like it was no big deal, and I was like, are you like, is this what's happening? Anyway, so then when I talked to you and you sounded like Marge on The Simpsons, I was like, I don't know that we're gonna be ready for this. But do you feel like when you've depleted because of the way your body feels, because of the way your mind feels, both? Like what does it feel like to be this tapped out?
I've never really considered that energy could be similar to, let's say, like pain, where you have everyday pain versus chronic pain. Do you have everyday depletion versus chronic depletion, or like everyday depletion versus ADHD depletion?
Yeah.
I've never considered that. I think I know for a fact that like as I'm sitting here now, I feel a lot better than I did when I was in bed. So my instinct was to just hermitize, which become a hermit. That's my verb word for to become a hermit.
Yeah.
I hermitize. And not connect with the world. Yeah. So then when you said, what do you need right now? I was like, I genuinely just didn't know. I'm like, I don't know what I need. But then you started giving me ideas of like, well, we could podcast tomorrow. And I was like, okay, well, that's not going to work because I got to go to the aquarium tomorrow. Okay. And then you're like, well, how about Monday? And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. Monday, that would work. But then when I started thinking about it, I started feeling energetically how I felt. And I was like, something's not right. And then, I don't remember how we got to it, but then you had mentioned, I was like, well, no, I think we can still do it today. I just need to like get up and move around. And then that's when you said, okay, well, like, if we could do that, but like I've got a deadline. So I think it's I don't it's I know that feeling I had today where it's like you're energetically depleted, and I didn't sleep well. I was physically in pain, and I'm like trying to think like, how do I describe it? It's like I'm in a black space and like a darkened space. Can't see very well. My eyes are kind of like tunnel vision, so I don't have periphery vision. And I'm feeling every part of my body that hurts, and like it's all screaming at me, and I'm trying to not pay attention to it, but like it just keeps screaming at me. But also like my body is very still and like doesn't want to move. And so then my go-to is to distract myself with something. So like I'll listen to someone else talk, or I'll work on a little puzzle on my iPad or something. And then when I'm doing that, I feel neutral. I don't feel high or low. I just feel numb, and I want to say balance is not the right word because I don't feel balanced. Like, but I feel like there's a what is this, Michelle? There's like a scale going on where I've got the pain on one side, and then I've got the I don't know, emotions on the other side. And so like, which one's going to win? Is it the emotions going to win, or is the pain going to win? But then when I do all of these different things, then it sort of brings them both up and balances the emotion and the pain. And it just keeps them stationary.
You know, it's interesting when you said that, two things came to mind. And one is, I remember being on this boat with our brother and the children, and we were going to take them fishing. And so we're out, you know, kind of out a bit. And it's like 10 minutes in, I realized that I am like tremendously seasick, like so bad. Like, so I sit at the top of, you know, I don't know, it's this fishing boat. So I sat on the top of something, and I just remember staring at the horizon and like just staring at the horizon and trying not to move one way or another. Because if I moved one way, I was going to completely lose, you know, my lunch. And I just was like in this moment of like not wanting anything to disturb me, because it was going to go out of control pretty quickly, right? Like my bodily functions were going to just be like, whoop, take over. Yeah. And the other thing it reminded me of is in physics, sorry, nerdy, but you would like
I love
this,
it.
I think with sound, right? Like the sound waves, when you have two completely opposite sound waves, when you put them over each other, they actually cancel each other out.
Yes.
But the sound is still there. It's like if you have completely like one's high, exactly high, and one's low, right? So your energy's low and your body is high because it's high pain. And then when you're like, you're saying you're kind of balancing them out, it's like keeping it in neutral.
Interesting.
I don't know. It's interesting. I find this fascinating.
Cool.
How I'm curious if other people who are listening have this, because I've talked to quite a few people who have they're not always making a connection between the energy and the pain and the emotions, right? But like, I'm wondering if other people who are ADHD deal with this more than we know, right? Or more than people talk about, or more than the connection might be made. Because I hear a lot of people with body physical pain, right?
Oh yeah.
And I wonder, like, you know, if you are better at managing your energy, might that help? And it's hard sometimes, right? Because you have families, you have commitments at work, you have all these things, and like outside influences. Not like you can always control that, but this idea that one might, you know, actually put boundaries around things simply so that one doesn't get into this place, right?
Yeah, I mean,
like, and you can't always do it, but I think you do that sort of naturally. But
well, and anecdotally, I've actually been, it's weird. Like I've been finding all these random YouTubers who do not say that they're ADHD. Like that's not anywhere in their wheelhouse or like in their content. But then every once in a while they'll bring up the fact that they're ADHD. And then I'm like, oh, it's all making sense. And they're talking, but like then they talk about they have fibromyalgia or they have, you know, pain, or, you know, it's like, I do wonder if the pain, I think, is just exacerbated by it, because like in order, you know, it's true. It's like in order to maintain and to maintain your body, you have to have some equilibrium. Yeah. Otherwise, like this last, I would say the last year, my pain level's actually been pretty good. Yeah. Because, you know, a lot of the things that were stressors in my life, we've kind of worked out. Like heat was really a massive stressor for me.
Somebody just told me the heat in Arizona, it's like smoking a pack of cigarettes or something. Like, I don't know, a day or what. I got to find out. Yeah. So you're going to be healthier already. Yeah. But yeah,
but you know, the physical stressor on my body. So there's that one's taken away. And then, you know, having this like connection to the ocean, and that's been like a huge like relief. And then finding this job before all the stress happened, you know, really was actually a great thing. And then us doing this podcast, like all these different things that are different for me have been helpful. But then as soon as chaos was introduced, as soon as it happened, like where, you know, my world and my life was no longer my own, or that I had control over what I could do with it, instantly the pain started coming back, the twitches started coming back, my sleep started getting worse again, all of this stuff. And even my boss was saying, like, you know, if the one thing that this does for you is it lets you at least have a resolution, right?
Yeah.
You know, yeah, like you could kind of try to game it out and say, well, am I gonna actually be fired? Maybe I can make it through. But the sheer amount of stress that's gonna put your body under during that time, what a gift to not have to go with that. It's like it's at least understood.
Yeah.
And I think that there's something to be said about living your life for energy consumption. You know, like I always joke, but like there's this thing in my head where like I know that I've made the right decisions in the day when the majority of green lights go my way when I drive somewhere. I know, like, I know this is dumb. I know this is so my Portuguese superstition in it, but like,
no, it's good.
But I truly believe I'm like, there are these moments where like I'm not listening to myself, and I'm forcing myself out the door, and then sure enough, like when I don't listen to myself, like I hit every red light.
Yeah.
And when I'm forcing myself out the door and I'm listening to myself, like the drastic number of red lights decrease. Like and it's maybe it's also I'm not noticed. No, but like literally it's every freaking red light. And you know me, like
I'm true though. That's completely like one of those things, right? When everything's gonna go wrong, it all goes wrong, you know, or whatever. And when you're in that state of agitation, as well. And I think, you know, as you're saying it, I think it's this idea of becoming energy efficient in our lives. I think whether you're ADHD or not is so useful because the more energy you have, right? And I myself, this last like 2 weeks that we had the last week of school and the first week of summer session, and it's like overlaps in this really weird way that I forget every year. Like this is exactly like how I always tell people fall is like my tax season, but I forget that this time of year is another mini version of that. And it doesn't last as long and it's not as intense, but it's definitely, I'm not at my best. And because so much of my energy is going to all these things, right? Other things that aren't normally being pulled. And so it's like, I have to protect. Like I said no to somebody to go to dinner last week and said, can I do it this week? And then I thought I really should have waited yet another week because, you know what I mean? So it's just kind of, I don't know, for me, this chapter like resonated with me in the sense of saying like, what are those things that give you energy? What are those things that don't? And when you know you're going to have a stressful week or you know you're having stressful events, like what might you need to do for yourself that you don't normally do? You know, and can we like put those little things that are stimulating for specifically for people with ADHD, like stimulating and fun, that green category of that quadrant of something that you're doing, can we pepper a few more of those things in so that you're building it back in?
This is why we need our manual, Michelle.
Yeah.
And like one of the things in the manual is going to be like breaking down like which tasks give you energy, and like it walks you through let's try some things, and like we're gonna all try it together, and then you're gonna decide which tools in the toolbox work for you. It's sort of like an acting school, you know, you try all these different techniques, and it really is about like everybody's gonna be different. Like someone's gonna love the coffee cup in the morning, like that's like a sense memory thing. Like someone's gonna love
thinking about that.
Yeah, I mean it's like there's all these different things, like but then it's really about like you're not meant to use every single tool. You're meant to figure out which tools work best for you so that you can start your, you know, when you have like vocal training, for instance, like there's all these different warm-ups that you do, but like the goal is that you can do a 5-minute warm-up and your voice is ready to go. And so wouldn't it be cool if we could like figure out how to have us all try these different things where we're figuring out like, okay, which item gives us which one's the green energy and which one's yellow and which one's red, and that way like if you need to go back to it, you write it down, and so you have a physical place that you can go back to, and you're like, look, I just need some green energy this week. Awesome. So like and then you have a list of things that give you green energy, because let's be honest, you're going to forget.
Well, and I was going to say, she has a workbook that goes along with this book that I realized. So I think there's like elements of this that like, you know, are built, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's interesting. Like when we're thinking about it, she's like, think about your energy as like your phone power. And I was like, that's kind of a good way to think of it. And if you're on 10% energy, like you need to be careful how you're using it, but you also need to recharge your battery. And I like that idea, you know? So I think there's...
But also like the battery is a great representation, because there's something that tells you, there's something visual that tells you. And the problem I find with myself is that I don't have a little screen that tells me my battery's depleting.
Right. Right.
And I also don't have a screen that tells me how much capacity my battery has for that day.
Right.
So like, you know, there's some things like where I liked Mel Robbins, you know, she had her thing where she said, okay, she actually used battery as a thing. She's like, tell me like where you are today, like kind of on a scale of like meh to like, I'm ready to fight dragons. And I don't think she used those terms, but you know, the
shocking that you came up with your own words.
I think she had meh, but
meh.
I can't remember what the other one was, because like I never had that.
You're ready to slay whatever it is.
Yeah. Slay queen. So I, you know, there's something to be said about being able to learn where you're at. And I would like, gosh, I just really, you know, now that I have all this extra time, like I really want to figure out how to create those things for us, because that's what I need. I need support more than ever.
Yeah.
And
you do.
I need it.
Yes. We need our community to give us ideas of those green things. What's interesting is it's so individual, right?
Yeah.
Like because the fun piece matters apparently for people with ADHD. So I'm learning that too. It's got to be fun. And the type of stimulation really matters, whether it's going to give you energy or not.
But see, I like the idea, Michelle, that we create like a series of tasks to try, or like we create a series of like, you know, let's have you test this stuff out. We're going to like make you our
guinea pig. Megan.
Yeah, we're going to have a little laboratory.
Yes. And you will be my lab rat. I love it.
Yes, but then we can also share how that lab rat can be with other, like you can be, you know, perform your own experiments so that you figure out for yourself, like all of our listeners could figure out what their green things are, because it's going to be totally different than what mine are.
Yeah, and I would love to hear like what people find, because I think
because I heard somebody say that they actually like alarms yesterday.
Wow.
And I was like, what do you mean you like alarms? That's wild to me. And I support them, and and obviously Tamara, she thinks that alarms are the bee's knees. So like, you know, so I think just like helping us, these are great techniques, but like if there's one thing that I would want to do is I'd want to like help us implement, let's find the right technique for your brain.
Yes.
And we're going to give you a whole bunch of tools, and like, let's find all those tools in the tool shed and
try them out, see what works.
Yeah. You're going to pick up the hammer and see what that does. You're going to grab your screwdriver and see what that does. You know, oh my gosh, you're going to get like a Sawzall, and that's fun. So, you know,
you just went
like, I just found this
tech nerd, like
I did
theater tech nerd. That's awesome.
Like I found like, you know, so it's just like,
I also thought it was funny that you told everyone that they're going to get screwed, but you know, whatever, that's fun too.
Hey, you know, that wasn't fun to me. So I'm like, give me the Sawzall, baby. Give me a bandsaw any day. I'm like, yeah, let's go for it.
That sounds awesome. Well, I love you so much. Thank you for sharing today.
I love you too.
Bye.
Okay, bye. Thanks for listening to the Spicy Brain Podcast, brought to you by Spicy Brain Studios. We're continuing our series focusing around the book, Your Brain is Not Broken, Strategies for Navigating Your Emotions and Life with ADHD by Tamara Rosey, PhD. We hope you enjoyed us navigating our neurodivergent brains through curiosity, joy, and radical acceptance. Take a moment to share the episode with someone you think could benefit from the conversation, because sharing it really helps us build these episodes and create better content for you. Also, don't forget to follow us on whatever platform you're listening to so that you can get notified each week, because next week we will dive into living in the energy grid. Now, I for sure went off topic today, and we really wanted to hit in on those items that give us energy and the items that take it away. So tune in next week to hear us finally discuss the topic that we were supposed to talk about today. But until then, here's to a great end of the week, and remember to stay curious.
What's funny is that it was actually like the topic was like fun versus not fun, but there just wasn't enough for that. So I just moved it into the next week's one. So you didn't do anything bad.
That's fine.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for the...
Yeah. Are you going to go to the ocean?
Yeah. Brian and I are going to go get some sushi, and then we're going to go to the ocean.
I love it.
Look at that dog. Look at that stupid dog right there.
That's a cutie dog.
Stupid dog.